In C#, an application is a collection of one or more classes. This example is going to show you some of the basic elements that you need to include in a C# program and how to organize these elements so that a compiler can understand your code. So let's take a look. The code that you're seeing here is an example of a very simple application. And this application contains one class called Class 1. And you can see the Class 1 definition right here. A class has to have an open brace and a close brace. And everything between is what makes up the class definition. You can put multiple classes in a single file. Of course, the code file represented in C# has a CS extension. So you can put multiple class definitions in one CS file, or you can put multiple classes across multiple CS files. But what you can't do is spread a single class across multiple files. What you'll see inside the class is one method call. And that method is called main. And that's actually a special type of method. It defines the entry point or the start of an application. It tells the compiler where the application is to begin. And there can only be one starting point to an application. The next thing we'll take a look at is using system at the very top here. System, as you recall, is a namespace that belongs to the .NET framework. Remember, the .NET framework supplies many predefined classes with ready-made functionality. These classes are logically grouped into namespaces. And a namespace represents a set of related or grouped together classes. The system namespace is actually a very important namespace. It contains all the classes that you need to interact with the operating system. For example, if you want to do any kind of I/O operations, you would need the classes in the system namespace. The system namespace actually contains the console class, and that's what you see referenced here, the console class. What the using directive allows us to do is not to have to fully qualify this console class. By putting using and then system at the top, I don't have to fully qualify that console class when I reference it. So if I hadn't had the using system, I would actually have to preclude the console class name with the name of the namespace that console belongs to. So this is the fully qualified name of the console class. And by using the using directive, I do not have to fully qualify the name of the class. So using is simply a directive which allows me to shortcut the names of things like classes and objects that might be in a namespace. What really happens is during compilation, when the compiler looks at this line, it will actually substitute this line with the fully qualified name of console. And it will look at all your using directives to determine where the console class actually resides. You can have multiple using directives at the very top of your CS file, and they can just be joined one after the other, and they have to be terminated by a semicolon. The last thing we'll take a look at is the console class itself. That, as we mentioned, is a class that belongs to the system namespace. And what it really does is it provides standard input-output, normally what you would associate with a keyboard and a screen. The console class is a class that you usually see in a console application. It's not really something that you would see in a Windows application. For a Windows application, you would normally use classes in system.windows.